Toro just stole 25% of your work again, and you thank them by giving them a five-star review by the customer? Well, fear no longer. In this series, we are going to help you escape the Toro cycle, the Toro matrix. Today, in this video, I will teach you how to build a car rental agreement from scratch. And we're going to do a live demo with a car rental agreement that I used, that I built, so that you guys can see exactly how to do it. So without any further delay, let's do it. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. All right, cool. So this right here, and I have my computer here, so I'll be looking to the right. This right here is a car rental agreement. And this car rental agreement contains all the things that we need to protect ourselves, our business, our vehicles. So getting right into it. The first part of the car rental agreement is to make sure you have, obviously you want to customize this agreement to your business and your company. What the car rental agreement allows you to do is to set an agreement between you and your customer, limit your liability, limit your damage cost, and transfer any liability to the customer. So the first thing we need here is our company name. We need the renter's name, their address, their driver's license number. And on top of that, we want to make sure that we're delegating, right? We assign, delegate, or transfer your obligation under the rental agreement. So the way we do that is by filling this out with all the information that is needed to successfully do the transfer of obligation. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to put the car vehicle information. So you need the make, the model, the year, the VIN, the color. All of these are important to identify the vehicle. And then the next part of this agreement is the rental term. The term of the car rental, right, runs from the start date till the end date. This has to be accurate. The reason why you want this to be accurate is so that there is no question as to the period of which the person had the car. Now, a lot of times you want to make sure that you include the time also in this, so the start date and time. Um, that way you know exactly when it started, the time that they picked up the car, and exactly when it ended, the time they brought back the car. So this is what you want here. If you have mileage limits, you put how much mileage you're giving them for the rental term, and then whatever you charge, anything that they go over. You want to highlight your rental fees, your base fee per day, per week, per month, whatever you charge, and then any additional fees beyond the rental term. So if they are extending, how much does it cost to extend for a week, a month, etc. Boom. Now we're gonna get into the clauses. This is gonna be very nitty gritty. I'm giving you guys a lot of game here. I'm giving you guys this for free. So go ahead, hit the like button. It's free. Leave a comment. Let me know if you want a copy of this. Let me know if this video is helpful. I had a few questions. So we're gonna get into the nitty gritty. This is like the details, the granular. So this is for the people that are serious about building a car rental business. So obviously here you're highlighting that they will pay a fee, a cleaning fee, which you want to take upfront as a deposit. Do never rely on the customer to pay you after they've returned the car. So you're taking a deposit. Now you can include a deposit here, or there's a clause in here actually for the deposit, which we will get to. But you want to highlight all the fees that they might owe you after the use of the vehicle. And the cleaning fee is one of them. Now, another one is the key fob. If they lose any key fobs or damage any keys when they return the car. Boom, smoking. Now, smoking is like one of the best ways to make additional revenue or to keep the entire deposit. You can say, hey, if they return the car, they'll pay a charge. Or you can also say, if they return the car and it smells like smoke, you keep their deposit, their entire deposit. I know a bunch of people that do that. And funny enough, the smokers, they don't care. Like they'll be like, all right, whatever, keep the deposit. So that's some extra money for you right there. And then, any third party charges that you can bill, like the insurance company, employer, etc. You want to highlight that in here, and then here tolls, um, toll charges. Another thing you want to put in here, which isn't in this one, is tickets. If they have any tickets, you can charge admin fees on tickets. I do that because it's a pain. Even if you're just doing transfer of liabilities, you still want to be able to charge an admin fee because it still takes time to draft letters and transfer liability to them. And then, here are some other things. Anything they omit. Um, the difference between, any errors, obviously, that are in here, because errors can happen, or any price misquotes, anything like that. So these are just standard stipulations. Boom, taxes, surcharges, and fees. They'll pay any taxes, surcharges, or recovery fees, right, to recover the vehicle in case you have to repossess it and things like that. And then here's your admin fees. So your admin fees for parking, traffic, tolls, and other violations. This is included in here. Very important that you have that any additional cost in here so there's no confusion. And then changes, obviously any changes must be in writing. So if they want to extend, they have to text you. Don't just have them call you, have them text you, because writing is documentation and you want to always have documentation. Have them text you, hey, if you want to extend, please text us. Boom. Or you want to text them in advance saying, hey, are you planning to extend? How long do you want to extend? And then they'll text you back. So that's a good one. Who may drive the vehicle? Very important. Um, because you're dealing with insurance and things like that, you want to make sure that only the people on the rental agreement that you've approved drive the vehicle. Because, and this is where a lot of people make mistakes. If they allow someone to drive the vehicle that is uninsured or isn't on the rental agreement, that any damage they cause, you're not going to get paid from the insurance company because that person is uninsured. And even if you purchase car rental insurance, you're not going to get paid out on that either because it's uninsured. So you want to make sure that anybody who is going to drive this vehicle is listed on the rental policy or the rental agreement. So one of the things I do is I tell them, hey, you can add anybody for free. The reason why I allow them to add anybody for free, as long as they're over a certain age, 21, is because I want to encourage them so I can put them on the rental agreement. That way I can get them covered on the insurance. So with the car rental insurance companies, a lot of the times, well, all of them, you have to have each driver listed in the policy. Because if an accident happens and there's a police report and the driver who was driving is not on the rental agreement, they're not going to cover it. And even worse, if they don't have insurance, nobody like you're not going to get that accident covered. So, it says 25 here, 25 years old. Whatever you want to go with, you can go with 21 plus. You can go with 18 plus, even though I wouldn't recommend that, but you can do that. So allow them to add people to your rental agreements for free. Return of the car, you want to put your location to return the car, the contact, so there's no confusion. Repossession of the car. So this is a very important clause. This allows you to take the car back, regardless of the reason. So if you need to take the car back for any reason, you can take the car back, and they have agreed to this. So this is an important clause to have in here, and you also have them pay to reimburse you for any reasonable costs incurred during the repossession, because repossession is expensive. In our company, that's a turnover cost for us because um a lot of the times we're repoing cars because people aren't paying. So that the missed payment, whether it's a day or two, Uber, if you're taking the Uber to go take the car back, the Uber, your time, things like that. So that should be coming out of the deposit. Okay. And then damage or loss to the vehicle. Obviously, this is one of the most important ones in here. Um, any loss, damage to the car, regardless of who caused it, they will need to pay. They're responsible for that, for estimated repair costs, etc. So this is a long clause, but basically, it does highlight that they're responsible for any damage, even if the car is stolen. You'll have to pay the fair market value of the car. And then this is where you also transfer the liability to the customer. So This is the loss damage waiver. And the loss damage waiver are different than the terms of the rental agreement, such as if your liability for ordinary negligence is limited. So they understand essentially that they are responsible, they're liable for any damage that they cause to a third party, to anybody else. They are held liable for that. And this is where they're basically signing up for that, and you're pushing the liability to them. Prohibited use of the car. Any reason that you don't want them to use the car, racing, illegal activities, things like that, you want to make sure you highlight that in here, and it's a clear violation of your rental agreement. Another reason why you can repossess the car if you find them doing something that they're not supposed to do, taking the car out of state, out of the country, using it for controlled substances, stolen goods, for crime, um, things like that are all highlighted in here. And then same thing, them or any additional driver, right? Any damage or loss to the vehicle, they have to provide a written accident report, which is your police report. So that's required from me as well. Any damage, they have to provide a police report. And then fuel charge, you're making them responsible for fuel. If they return the car with not the same amount of tank as you received it, they should be getting charged for that. Security deposit, that's highlighted here. So whatever you charge for your deposit, you put that in here. Depending on the vehicle, some vehicles are more expensive. You want to charge higher deposits. For the economy cars, usually I see between $100 to $200 as the security deposit. Um, and then obviously, you don't want to be responsible for any loss of that to property in the car. And then obviously you have insurance, proof of insurance that would cover rental vehicle. Um, and then collections, if they don't pay anything they don't pay, you can take them to collections. This is what this clause is. Um, legal action, anything that includes attorney fees, things like that, they're responsible for. Um, and then this is like a watered down version of your power of attorney. So essentially, the renter is legally entitled, you're saying they're entitled to operate the vehicle under the law. Um, they've given time to examine the vehicle and they're aware of any damage. So anything that happens to the vehicle during the rental that they are aware of, right? That it wasn't there before, they're responsible for. And then obviously, this is basically highlighting that they're agreeing with written consent, which would be their name, their date, and their signature, that anything in here they're agreeing to on your they're agreeing to all the terms in the rental agreement. So this is really a rental agreement. This is like I said, it's very nitty gritty. If you guys want a copy of this rental agreement, let me know. I'll create a downloadable link for free. And then I'll put it in the comments. So smash a like on the video. If you like the video, drop a comment. If you want a copy of this rental agreement, I'll go ahead and create a link and provide it to you so that you can use it. Thanks for watching. Let's go.